Hey, old friend.
Let's get into some interesting facts about this movie, guys.
No, wait. Let her know what she's working with. That's the way to do it in a loving way.
Hey guys, welcome back to Androidvision.
Don't ever trust a grown man with a puppy in the park.
What'll they do next?
Music to the ears of the hungry. The sizzle of a mouth-watering hamburger. Fresh, lean beef, done to a golden brown. Couched in a soft bun. And garnished to the ears of the hungry. The sizzle of a mouth-watering hamburger.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Androidvision, brought to you by the Intestinal Fortitude. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to your March edition of Androidvision, Season 6, Episode 3.
Yes.
Your boobs haven't gotten any smaller?
No, they haven't. If anything, they've...
They're plumping up. Are you sure you're not pregnant?
I'm positive.
Not PMSing?
No. Maybe.
Maybe? A little bit?
You never know.
I don't smell no copper. I don't know. It's going to be a light one this month for you.
They generally are.
There you go, see? No copper smell. No thick copper smell off of you coming. Because I could usually smell if you're you're gonna be good this month.
Okay, good to know.
I'm calling a 4-day bleeder. With the light tampons. The orange ones.
I totally switched over to a menstrual cup.
Whatever you gotta do, but I'm just saying, just play along with me here.
It's better for all the witchcraft and magic.
Right, you gotta hold the magic juice in the chalice.
There's actually literally a practice. So I looked up how to make my own runes at one point, and they do suggest painting menstrual blood on them.
It is, because it's the juice of the feminine gods.
I don't know if they put it that way, but yeah.
Yeah. We have entirely too much menstrual talk on the show.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We had vomit and poop the last one.
I know. So speaking of menstrual talk and blood, up next, our PSA from 1960, Red Asphalt. That's right, your grandparents might remember this one. It's California Highway Patrol presents Red Asphalt. It's not meant to entertain, but to impress. That's right. So learn something, you awful drivers. That's what I'm saying. Just learn something from this. You speeder uppers, you fucking don't pay attention. I'm going to ask you what kind of driver you are after this PSA, all right? We're going to find out. We're going to go around.
You're going to answer this question.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, okay.
And not the period spot in your fucking underwear, the spot about your driving, all right? So we'll be right back. Enjoy this nice PSA.
Under the messages.
I'm Lieutenant Lloyd Sellers of the California Highway Patrol. The motion picture you are about to see won't entertain you. That is not our objective. I hope it will impress you, that its message will have a lasting effect upon your driving behavior. The scenes you will see are starkly real. They were filmed by a group of men giving freely of their time and talent who rode many long hours in California Highway Patrol cars for the single purpose of recording the pain and agony of traffic accidents. The story is their story. It tells of their thoughts and their reactions as they worked side by side with members of the California Highway Patrol at these scenes of needless death and injury. I sincerely hope that their spokesman's closing appeal will be the principle on which your driving behavior is based.
At a briefing, we were forewarned of what we could expect to see. Then it was time to go. A feeling of apprehension swept through each of us. But overshadowing all was the solemn determination to try somehow to help prevent these senseless tragedies. In the beginning, the scene over the hood of our patrol car didn't look any different from what any of us see through the windshield of our family car. But the first lesson in safe driving came quickly. The officer pointed out a too relaxed driver. At his speed, this man would cover many car lengths before he could react to a sudden emergency, even though he was driving at a legal speed. Next was a distracted driver. All she did was turn to quiet her bubbling children. But during each second her attention was diverted, the 2 tons of steel she was operating moved another 100 feet closer to potential tragedy. Tragedy of the kind we would soon photograph. Then the radio broke silence. 1179 at 220th and Vermont. That's in 1179 at 220th and Vermont. That's the Highway Patrol's radio code for an accident with ambulance rolling. I sat and wondered how bad it was. Could I stand the ordeal? Could I do what I was there to do? And then we were there. Immediately, impressions crowded in upon me. I heard a voice in the crowd say, "He had the right-of-way." And there was the victim, bleeding and in pain. People seem to know too little about right-of-way. Yet they seem all too willing to risk life and limb in its defense when they believe they have it. For far too many, the risk becomes fact, and whether they actually had the right-of-way or not becomes purely academic. In this particular case, the matter of right-of-way was still to be determined. Already, traffic safety was taking on a new significance for me, a new dimension. Soon we were called to another accident, with ambulance already rolling. A motorcycle rider had struck a small girl in a pedestrian crosswalk. His crash helmet undoubtedly kept this motorcyclist from being hurt worse than he was. And the little girl, her injuries were not fatal, but they might well have been. His error was driving too fast for conditions, while she darted out into his path without looking. Accidents sometimes happen to alert drivers who are the innocent victims of someone else's carelessness. This man was concerned because a car was following him too closely. Then it happened. A car ahead stopped, and everybody hit their brakes. But since 2 cars were following too close, they couldn't stop in time. Result, another innocent passenger went to the hospital, a victim of tailgating, a major cause of freeway accidents. It's vacation time, but this family just missed theirs. Dad had worked until 3 in the morning, seeing that everything was in readiness. But he ignored one thing, his own exhausted condition. Just 2 winks of sleep at the wheel, and it happened. The little girl kept saying, "Mommy, Mommy, I knew we couldn't make it." No fun in camp that night for this young man. While the highway patrolman finished up, I thought of how much better it would have been if this man had considered the consequences to his family because he didn't get enough sleep. It is true, many accidents are caused by something we do or don't do long before the crash actually occurs. Here was another one that involved only one vehicle. This driver came into the curve too fast, too late, and in a state of panic, he locked his brakes and lost control of his car. So this deep ravine became the setting of another needless tragedy, and another driver learned a bitter lesson regarding speed too fast for roadway conditions. By this time, my impressions of accidents were losing their individual identity. Each day, we heard, "Code 1141, an ambulance needed." I tended to forget the reasons for these ghastly accidents. The sights and sounds at each became a kaleidoscope, all of it nightmarish. But I did retain the knowledge that someone had made a mistake each time one of these things happened. I began to wonder, too, about subnormal drivers. I learned that at modern highway speeds, the slightest thing that takes the driver's attention from driving can prove disastrous, and that any emotional disturbance which exhilarates or depresses can put any one of us in the hazardous driver class. With the approach of night, other problems develop. The drinking driver isn't the least of these. He drinks, then drives. And in at least one case I saw, wound up with a torn and bleeding face after violent contact with the windshield of his car. He simply wasn't up to driving his car. After drinking, no one ever is. Here is a grim lesson in physics. A moving vehicle hit an immovable object. Results? A painful injury for the driver. Seat belts may not prevent accidents, but they will reduce injuries in this type of situation, provided we use them. For the lack of one simple act, that of fastening the seat belt, this man became a statistic, injured in an auto accident. For him, as for victims of all these tragedies, it suddenly became a world turned upside down. The drive down the highway turned into a nightmare. The impressions continued to crowd in as one accident followed close upon another. In this one, the officer was told the car went out of control. Another single-car accident that need not have happened. Someone who seemed to know, said she had just had an argument with a friend. Well, this, too, is becoming known as a classic factor in traffic accidents. Distraction because of mental stress, such as anger, frustration, the whole gamut of human emotions, can lead drivers to act irrationally. And when this happens, it all too often leads to another tragic smash-up. Then there was that bad rear-end collision in the middle of the night. My only full recollection is that someone was traveling fast enough to leave a girl with a broken back. At the next one, I couldn't help thinking about how many times I'd heard friends of mine say, "Oh, sure, I'm okay to drive." Usually after a couple of drinks or after being without any sleep at all for an extended length of time. I became increasingly aware of the large number of single-car accidents we were seeing. These are all accidents in which the other fellow didn't figure at all. These drivers had done it all by themselves. Here's one that sends a few extra shivers down my spine. It seems this lone driver dozed at the wheel. He may have paid with the loss of his sight forever. The glow of a flare marked another spot at which human error brought human misery on the highway. Two men, one of them an aircraft pilot, accustomed to warning passengers to fasten their seatbelts, were both sitting on theirs when it happened. At the scene, all activity was aimed at one thing: saving the lives already put in jeopardy by substandard driving. These are two human beings who, until the moment of error, had full control of their own lives and how they were to be lived. I couldn't help reflecting at the time that they now depended entirely on the skill, speed, and persistence of others for the keeping of those lives. I wondered, too, how much blood one person could lose and still live. The coming of dawn didn't bring relief I inevitably hoped for. Recollection of the events of the night before were far too vivid. And people kept making driving mistakes. In this one, a man made his final mistake. I came away from this job with a heightened awareness of the conditions that make us substandard drivers. Dear God, help us all be better drivers, that we may be saved from the final consequences of our own folly.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed Red Asphalt. They showed that in a lot of driver's ed films. So
I'm surprised they didn't show it in my driver's ed.
they show some nasty ones nowadays, from what I hear. Like fucking cantaloupe heads, fucking watermelon heads, all that shit.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, pretty nasty. So I'm gonna ask you, what kind of driver are you? Are you a relaxed driver, or are you a distracted driver? What kind of driver are you?
All of the above.
Wow. Okay.
It depends on the day.
Well,
and the people around me.
Interesting. If you're not getting by, fucking smacking a kid in the fucking back seat. Who made me pull his car over? I've been known to be a granny driver, so my people around me have told me.
Child used to tell me to slow down because I was going too fast. And then he started telling me to speed up because I wasn't going fast enough. So
interesting.
He can't make up his mind, and then he outed me to my mother for going like 90 on the freeway.
Oh, isn't that the worst when your kid's telling you to your parents?
Yep.
Fucking worst. It's like, this is, and then you talk shit back to them. I should have never had you.
That has never come out of my mother.
You ruined my life. I could have been something if it wasn't for you. I should have just fucking swallowed you. Like, that would have been like, that's the worst. I should have just fucking swallowed you. I mean, if a parent told me.
That would come out in my kids' counseling. And I'd get in trouble.
I just want to let you guys know I did you a favor. I could have picked a complete, like, there's like 5 fucking awful fucking ones of this type of shit that I could have picked, like, really bad. Well, this stuff was really tamed compared to what I picked. So this is a family program. So we decided, to
Is it really?
We are a family program. That's right.
Oh.
If the family's over 18. So
Okay.
the Manson family. Yeah, and the Manson family. That's right. All right, guys. Up next, our movie of the night, a fun one, 1986's The Wraith. Did you watch this?
I did watch this. I almost got all the way to the end. I had.
Almost. That's pretty good. After a teenager is murdered by some local street racing fucking punks and gearheads, he I guess returns as a ghost / alien. It doesn't really say.
I don't think it gives us a specific answer there.
It just descends from the sky like 4 stars and meets in the middle of the road in a fucking awesome car.
Yeah.
A weird 80s awesome car. And it's like a futuristic car. And to take revenge upon these punks, kind of like The Crow, you know, in a weird way. There's a couple of similarities between this and The Crow that we'll get into after the movie. So this movie's directed by Mike Maron, known mostly for TV movies, like, and his big gets were like the series Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas. So that was a good one. I don't know if you guys are.
It was on right after The Highlander.
Yeah, I love the Highlander TV series too. Those were great.
I remember the Highlander TV series.
I thought they were awesome.
So did I, until like the last couple seasons. Those got kind of funky, but
there was like a group of TV shows that were put out by a network, like syndicated, UPN or something like that.
It was like Highlander, Renegade,
but
Hercules and Xena.
There was. This is really funny. There was a Smokey and the Bandit. It only lasted 1 season, but it was called The Bandit, and it was like, I forget who the actor was, but like he had like a now version of or a mid '90s, early '90s version of the fucking car from Smokey and the Bandit. But yeah, it only lasted 1 season. But anyways, didn't mean to go off on that whole trick. But so this movie has a star-studded cast. Charlie Sheen, a young and beautiful Cheryl Fenn, who I didn't know she was going to show her breasts in this movie because she doesn't show them a lot, but she did. And I was really happy about that. Lucky us. Cheryl Fenn, Randy Quaid, the crazy Randy Quaid, who now lives in Canada, I don't know what happened. What happened to Randy Quaid? Do you know?
Independence Day. Became a crazy person.
He did, didn't he? Just grew his beard out and... Yeah, he just became a crazy guy, man. So, yeah, something happened to Randy Quaid.
Explains why he moved to Canada.
Yeah. And Nick Cassavetes and B-movie schlock maestro himself, Clint Howard. Clint Howard is in this one.
The better of the Howards.
The better of the Howards. That's right, guys. So, but we'll get into some interesting facts about this movie after you guys are done watching it. I hope you enjoy The Wraith. It's a nice, fun mid-'80s movie with a fucking awesome heavy metal soundtrack.
Yes.
And we'll be right back.